Okay, so there's this question that I've been asking myself a lot lately. I'm constantly distracted. Wait. I wasn't listening. My room is a mess. I cleaned this yesterday. And I keep forgetting my keys everywhere. Do I have ADHD? And it seems like a lot of people on the internet are asking the exact same question. But the thing is, diagnosis can be a bit tricky. And the ADHD community is divided into two sides. People who think ADHD is being overdiagnosed and the people that think it's being underdiagnosed. A key criteria for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is that it shows up at a very early period of life. And that's according to the DSM, a manual published by the American Psychiatric Association. It's essentially a huge guide with standardized criteria that doctors use to diagnose mental disorders. And according to the latest edition, there are 5 big things that need to be checked off to determine if someone has ADHD. First, you need to show persistent patterns of at least 6 symptoms from at least one of 2 categories. And these symptoms had to exist before the age of 12, be present in 2 or more different settings, interfere with your social, academic, or professional abilities, and not be, quote, better explained by another mental disorder. If you do meet these criteria, the good news is that ADHD medications are super effective. You might be familiar with Ritalin. It was introduced back in 1955, and since then, more pharmaceutical companies developed new types of ADHD medication. Today, about 75% of ADHD patients respond to one of 2 types of stimulants. Methylphenidate, which is in brands like Ritalin and Concerta, and amphetamine, which is found in Adderall. But not everyone thinks this boom in drugs is a positive thing.
First of all, it's weird that a diagnosis that used to be applied to about 3% of the population to 15%. An enormous increase in the diagnosis.
This is Dr. Alan Francis, and he believes that ADHD is being overdiagnosed.
This is coincident to the drug companies coming out with new and very expensive products that gave them both the method and the means to aggressively market ADHD as a disorder, selling the ill in order to sell their pills.
According to a number of studies done in the US, Taiwan, Iceland, and Canada, the youngest kid in the classroom was way more likely to be diagnosed with ADHD than the oldest kid.
What this means is that immaturity is being turned into a mental disorder and being treated with a pill.
In 2013, the DSM's criteria broadened to include children who had symptoms by age 12, where previously it required symptoms before the age 7. This looser criteria could possibly increase the risk of more children being misdiagnosed for ADHD and put on drugs. And all drugs have side effects, even the effective ones. Studies have found that ADHD medications increase heart rate and blood pressure. Other side effects include strokes, depression, addiction. In rare cases, misdiagnosis can mean treating the wrong problem altogether.
If you make a misdiagnosis of ADHD in an adult who has bipolar disorder and give him stimulants, he'll become much worse.
On the other hand,
there is a pattern in psychiatry. If you go back to schizophrenia 60 years ago, people used to say that schizophrenia wasn't a psychiatric disorder. It was a choice of lifestyle. We don't have that conversation. 30 years ago, the same argument was applied to depression. We don't have that discussion. And in 20 or 30 years from now, we will no longer be having this discussion about ADHD.
This is Dr. David Goodman, and he thinks ADHD is being underdiagnosed.
In one survey, they found that 4.5% of adults in the United States likely have ADHD. But what's really striking are 2 important facts. One was that 75% of the adults presumed to have ADHD had never been diagnosed. And of those with ADHD, 45% were receiving mental health treatment, but not for ADHD.
And this is a big problem, especially for women. Women are generally harder to diagnose because while hyperactivity is more common in men and boys, inattentiveness is more common for women and girls. boys are twice as likely to be diagnosed with ADHD as girls are, but many argue that it's not necessarily because it's more common in boys. According to psychologist Ellen Lippman, studies of ADHD were based mostly on hyperactive young boys, leading to a distorted understanding of the disorder. Dr. Goodman also argues that media portrayals of ADHD can add to a stigma that keeps people from seeking treatment.
Hi there! What's your name? My name's Abernathy Darwin Dunlap, but you can call me ADD on account of the fact that I have ADD, which...
You were just like the worst student in the world, weren't you? They said I had AD... something. Can we have class outside?
An extensive study has shown that ADHD patients who get treatment have much more beneficial academic and social outcomes in the long run than those who don't. So the real problem here isn't really whether there are too many or too few people diagnosed with ADHD. It's, are the right people getting the right treatment? And that's something that you're not going to find on the internet.